Okay, so today we're going to be working on a Giphy API search code along. So we're going to use the Giphy API to make our own version of the Giphy website. So first of all, we're going to go to CodePen. So go to your favorite browser and type in CodePen. Now that you're here, signed into your account or just make a new CodePen, it doesn't really matter. But if you want to save your work, I suggest creating your own account first before you actually get started. So we're going to open up a new pen, and we're going to call it the Giphy API search code along. Or I'm just going to call it tutorial for my own sake, but feel free to call it whatever you'd like. So we're going to start off in the HTML. We're going to create these tags. And now that we're here, we're going to create title. And this is just for us. It's not going to show up anywhere, but it's going to be Giphy API code along. We're going to close this, and we're going to add a script tag. And I'm just going to close up this head tag. Now that we're here, we're going to create a button. So for the body, I'm going to open up a new tag, input, type equals text, and then ID equals input. And then here we're going to create the button. So as you see here, you already have a little text bar, and we're going to make a button so we can actually submit a search, right? So we're going to do onClick. onClick equals send API request. And we're going to write Giphy. Great. And now I'm just going to close up this button. And now we're going to close the body tag. And we're also going to close the HTML tag. Okay, so now we have all of our HTML. You see this basic page here with a search bar and a submit button. So obviously if we were to type in anything, and nothing's going to pop up, because what happens when you click this button is that it tells it when you click the button to call the send API request function. However, we haven't written that yet, so let's actually get to writing that. So write function send API request. And please make sure that you're spelling everything the same way that we spelled over here, because the reason why this is so important is because if we were to have, for example, a capital S here, and we actually had written all of the code out, the computer and CodePen wouldn't actually know where send API request is, so it wouldn't actually do anything because it's two different names. So make sure that your spelling is very, very precise. Another thing here, if you don't already know, what this is called is camel case. So when you're creating variable names or function names, it's really the norm when coding is to use camel case, and the reason for that is so that you can actually read it really well. So instead of having, for example, over here just all lowercase, this would be really hard to understand, right? So instead we do camel case, which is after the first word you have to capitalize every other word that's in the same name, variable name, function name, etc. Okay, so moving on. So now we're going to create a variable, user input, and we're going to document .get element by ID, and we're going to write input .value. Now that we're here, we're going to write console.log user input. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create another variable called Giphy API key. So here, everyone's going to have their own individual unique API key. So in order to do this, you're going to go over to the Giphy website and go to the Giphy developers page. Here, if this is easier for you, the link is up here above in the browser. But since I'm already here, what you're going to do is you're going to click go to the Giphy API Quick Start Guide, and you're going to click Quick Start. So the easiest way to do this is to actually create an app. So in order to create an app, you're going to click this button, and since I'm already logged in, it's going to send you to your dashboard and you're going to create an app. So right now, I'm going to do the Giphy API code along, and this is my Giphy API key. I'm going to copy that in, and I'm going to paste this in. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to create the variable Giphy API URL. So we're going to write HTTPS API api.giphy.com/v1/gifs/search, and then we're going to type in Q equals $. We're going to have those curly brackets, and then we're going to write and rating equals G and API underscore key equals $. Again. And we're going to open up curly brackets once more. So what's going to go in this curly brackets are, we're going to have the user input so that we know what to look up inside of the Giphy API. And then for the Giphy API key, we're going to be using our own specific Giphy API key, typing that in into the curly brackets. We're going to hit enter and create fetch. We're going to call fetch Giphy API URL. Then function data. We're going to open that up. And it's going to be return data.json. Great. So I'm going to format this here. And then after this section, we're going to write dot then function JSON open curly brackets. And here we will code what we want to do with the actual data, right? So in here we're going to write console.log JSON.data square brackets 0.images.fixedHeight .url var image path equals JSON dot data. Again, open your square brackets, images dot fixed height URL. So I'm just going to copy this top right here. And then I'm going to hit var, another variable. We're going to call this the image variable. It's going to be document dot create element image. Enter again, image dot set attribute src comma image path. Make sure that you have all of the quotation marks in the correct place. Next, we're going to write document dot body dot append child image. Okay. So now here we're going to go inside and we're going to type in hamster. And nothing's popping up. So that means I have an error. So let's see. So actually here, one thing that I completely forgot to do is it's not supposed to be quotation marks. It's supposed to be these marks right here. See, now you can see that the user input and the Giphy API key are blue, just like their variable name. So now that we're here, we're going to save that. And we're going to write, again, I'm going to look up hamster. And there we go. Now we have a hamster. I'm going to look up a cat. Or tack. Now we're going to look up cat. Perfect. So now that we're done with that, we're going to, you can pretty much finish here. But because I would like to spruce this up a bit, we're actually going to go in and add some CSS. So the CSS that was used to actually inspire this new look for the Giphy API search tutorial that we're doing here was created by Chance Squires. We used his hello button code as a base to transform the look of this Giphy API search. So thank you, Chance Squires. And now we're going to go into, we're actually going to start changing the HTML first. So we're going to go here and we're going to get rid of the body tags because we don't need them anymore. We didn't need them in the first place, but it was just to break it up. And because we want to have a different font, we're going to use link href equals, and we're going to use the https fonts.googleapis.com CSS to family equals cookie and display equals swap and rel equals style sheet. Great. So now inside of here, I'm just going to create a div tag. And we're going to create, we're going to leave this here as is, but we're actually going to change up the button. So we're going to create another div tag. Our div id equals button. And then on click. We're just going to copy this here. On click equals send API key for this. And I'm going to close that up and write span class equals no select Giphy. And we're going to close span. And then I'm going to write another div tag, div id equals circle. And we're going to close it up. And we're also going to close up the other div tag on the outside. Perfect. So this should be all for our HTML. Okay, so this should be all for our HTML, and now we're going to go into the CSS. Now that we're here, we're going to edit the HTML, so the entire thing is going to be height equals 100 VH, then align items center, justify content. So if you didn't already know, the CSS of code is sort of like the clothing or the makeup put on a skeleton or the face in order to make it look nicer, right? Not that you need makeup. But it's kind of like the paint to a canvas, right? So the HTML is sort of the outline of your painting before you actually start painting, and then the CSS is the colors and the paint that you put on top of the canvas. And now we're gonna put 2D 3 4 3 6. We're gonna have a nice gray color, and then we're gonna write background image linear. We're gonna put a little gradient here. And 6 zeros and 74%. Great, so now you should see this gradient here. Now that we're done with this, we're gonna do hashtag button, open curly brackets, background, hashtag 222. We do height 45 px, min width 90 px, border none, border radius 10 px, color So as you can see here, the changes are being made directly down here. And then we're gonna make it font size 35px, font family. We're gonna use cookie, cursive. So as you can see here, we took from the Google API font family cookie, and that's what we're going to be using for our font. So the next one is position relative, transition 1S, and right WebKit. Inline block. So because as you can see before we had this code, we had the button down here, but now we're gonna get rid of that to make it actually side by side like we had before. Great. So the next piece is gonna be align, I can't spell, align items center. We're gonna have justify content center, cursor, pointer, and padding dash top. Because we want it to be a little bit further down from here, we're gonna add 5px. And as you can see, that created a little bit more space in the button. And we want that to be a little bit more centered. So we're going to add padding left 15 px. And as you can see, that button looks a lot better now. The next step that we're going to do is we're going to edit the button and the circle. So we're going to take this part here. I'm just going to copy this in here. I'm going to get rid of the min width height. This is going to be 5px, and this is going to be 5px as well. Next part is background transparent. Alright, border radius 50%. Position absolute. Top 0. Left 50%. We're going to do overflow hidden. Transition equals. Great. So, okay, so now that we're done with this portion, we're going to hit enter, and we're going to write hashtag button hover circle. Height is going to be 50px. Width 100px. Left 0. Border radius 0. Border bottom 2px. Solid. We're gonna make this pink. Why not? So as you can see here, now there's this effect. Let me just save my work and refresh the page to show you. And as you can see here, there's this underline that appears when hovering over the Giphy button in pink. So now we're going to hit enter, and we're gonna edit the input. And now we're gonna write background hashtag 222. Height equals 45px. We're going to do width is going to be 190px. See, so now we made our search bar around the same size as our Giphy button, but around twice the length. So we're going to write border none. I'm going to get rid of the border. We're also going to write border radius 10px because we want to round it out. And we're going to hit save again as CodePen nicely reminded us to do so. Next, we're going to create, because here when you type in, for example, cat 1, you can't really see it, it's black, so we're going to make it the color pink. So now when you type in, it's pink. However, we want that to be a little bit bigger. So we're going to write font size 35px. We're going to make it just as big as Giphy. We're also going to write font family cookie cursive. So you can see here, now it looks just like this Giphy button. But we also don't want it to be too far to the left. We want to have a little bit padding. So we're going to write padding dash left 15 px. And perfect. So now we're officially done with the code, and let's test it out. So here I want to look up let's look up something that I haven't looked before. Let's look up a rabbit or a bunny. And you see a lot of bunnies. We're gonna look up a puppy, a kitten, and great, this is your new Giphy API search engine. So we just kind of recreated the Giphy website using the Giphy API code, and now we're done. Thank you for tuning in and watching this week's tutorial. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. Our website is at codeequal.com. That's with 2 E's and codeequal. And feel free to reach out. We can answer any questions you have. And thank you again for watching.